Hello and welcome to the Racing Gambit presented by USAWager.com on the Sports 2.0 network. We're going to go through all the racing action this weekend at Keeneland, and we're going to have a look back at some Kentucky Derby prep action from last weekend. But as always, I won't be doing it alone. Ace, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm more confused about the Derby than ever and who I'm picking, but that's the exciting part of this whole thing.
Yeah, we'll start by looking back at last weekend because I feel like last weekend was one of them weekends where everything was just blown open. Like none of the results really the bluegrass with Zandon, you could probably saw that happening, and the Wood Memorial with Mo Donegal. I thought Mo Donegal was the pick of the whole weekend last weekend. I thought it was a nailed on selection. I was amazed at how big he was. But I guess the main was the Santa Anita Derby where Taiba just threw the cat amongst the pigeons, as I would say.
I was in shock. Our Forbidden Kingdom futures, you can burn him. He's out of the Derby. Messier, who was supposed to be the Baffert of all Bafferts, looked not great against the other yacht team. Everyone jokes always, it's the other Baffert that's going to get you. Second career race ever, and he's a Grade 1 winner. And he finished the last furlong in 12 seconds. Like, this horse might be a super freak. But then again, how do you take a horse who's run twice only in the Kentucky Derby? I see odds of 7-1 here. That was the most shocking by far, was the Santa Anita. To your point, the bluegrass, I mean, what can you say about Flavian Pratt? Like, making up all the ground and getting that horse home to beat Smile Happy, who I think ran a pretty solid race. And then, going up to New York, I'm sorry. I don't like any of the New York horses in this Derby. Morello didn't look good. I know your boy Mo Donegal. Yes, he won. He won off the pace. I just don't see an off the pace horse winning the Kentucky Derby. It's been a long time since this happened. So a lot of shakeup though in the odds, and a lot of shakeup of who's in, who's out, etc.
Yeah, I think 14-1 for the Derby is probably about accurate. I feel like that's about as good as he is. I mean, I think he's a great horse at Aqueduct. I think he's a really, really good horse there. And I do think there's going to be races further down the line where he's probably going to get big wins. But to your point with Taiba, I thought he was electrifying in that Santa Anita Derby. But I just cannot have him for the Derby itself. Purely off the fact that he didn't race as a 2-year-old. And I mean, we're talking like elite horses that have come through to win the Derby without racing as a 2-year-old. I mean, Justify was the most recent, but before that, you have to go back to Apollo in 1882. So, like, that is the kind of history where you're knocking about with that. And I think Taiba at 7-1 is, I mean, I would not even be looking at that, no matter how good he was last week.
Yeah, it's like, how many times can you run like that big? I mean, I'm sure he's super talented. Even though it says Tim Yakteen is the trainer, we all know it's the Baffert juice that's got this horse running. I just, I, I don't trust Mike Smith. I'm sorry. If Mike Smith's still going to be on, I'm going to go look elsewhere. But man, if that horse runs away with it, I'm not going to be shocked, but I'm also not going to be putting him on top.
No, I mean, because I mean, we're at the point now where we've only got literally one more prep race left, which we will talk about in a minute. So pretty much the top 20 as it is now is the 20 that will be going, I guess, unless something pretty drastic happens in the Lexington. But I guess you look at someone like Epicenter has done nothing wrong at all, as he sits top of the leaderboard. I think that is if he was to win the Derby, you'd be thinking, oh, that makes a whole lot of sense. But you've also got horses in there with like 100 plus points. Like I'm like thinking of Cyberknife, where that win just come out of nowhere. Obviously, Tis the Bomb's in there. We're not completely sure Tis the Bomb's even going to go to Churchill Downs. And then you obviously got the Japanese rider with Crown Pride, who obviously won the UAE Derby. But I think I think it's a really, really open race this year because they all seem to be beating each other, don't they?
Yeah, it seems like I think it's wide open in the case of, like, listen, do I think Epicenter is the best horse? Yes. Why do I think that? Because he's beaten half the other Derby contenders who came back to run really well, right? But at the same time, it all depends on the post. It all depends on the break. It all depends on who's going to the lead, how fast that lead's going to be going, right? There's so many things to look into with this race that it's hard to pick anyone until you see the actual post positions, and then from there, like, figure out what happens, right? We always tend to look at past performances and wins. Let's not forget the winner, the horse that crossed first, didn't last year, did not win their prep race to come in here. They took third. They took second. They were a second and third type of horse. Does that bode well for a simplification? Does that bode well for some other horses like a Smile Happy who are just taking seconds and thirds and they're going to run their biggest race at 1.25 miles? We shall see. But to your point about Epicenter, he's done nothing wrong, and he's won at a distance close to 1.25 miles. So realistically, I think that's the pick. I've got a few futures on him, but nothing to write home about. And hopefully he gets it done, but we'll see.
Well, to your point about the horses that finished second in preps, that leads me into Messier, really, because I think Messier was obviously a little bit disappointing last weekend, but it's hard to forget what he was doing before that. And obviously, you mentioned Medina Spirit. He was second in the exact same race last year, and that race has a better record of, or almost as good a record as getting winners that have not won than actually have won the race.
No.
So I think you might be looking a bit further down there, but I think I'm back to the drawing board now after Forbidden Kingdom and obviously Secret Oath, and Jack Christopher's not going either, is he? So it's all back up in the air now.
No, I'm with you. The only future I've got is Epicenter, and I think I sprinkled some on Smile Happy, just because you take second to Epicenter, you seem like you got all the promise in the world. Like, I think those two are the plays, but we'll see when it comes showtime.
I think Smile Happy is another one that kind of falls into that bracket as well, because obviously he has won at Churchill Downs as well, which also would kind of look good. I think a good draw, and I think I'd be more than tempted to have a go on Smile Happy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. We got a big better over here, Mattress Mac, who owns a part of this horse, who likes to bet millions on it. So if you like Smile Happy at 16-1, take it, because he ain't going to be 16-1 Derby Day. I'll tell you that much.
Okay, then we'll get straight into some action this weekend now with the Lexington Stakes, which is the 48th and final prep race for the Derby. It's a grade 3 over 1 1/16 miles at Keeneland. It's worth 20 Kentucky Derby points, but I guess it's not going to have a massive bearing on the leaderboard. Maybe towards the bottom end of it, I guess. But out of this field, because I feel like this is a pretty open field where you can make cases for a fair few of them, could you see any of them kind of forcing their way into the lineup for the opening Triple Crown race?
I only see I see 3 horses that can get into the Derby with a first place finish. But this is literally it's 2 a.m. at a bar, and it's closing time, and you're either saddling up or you're going home by yourself. That's what this race is, right? There's not a ton of points to get into the Derby, and I look at this, and this is the thing that hurts the most, and I think you would agree here. Dwayne Lucas seems super desperate to get a horse into this Derby, and that's with Ethereal Road, who they're running him back from a week ago in the Bluegrass. Now, I know he didn't do much running in the Bluegrass, but didn't you have Secret Oath primed for the Arkansas Derby, and you kept your junk jock on him taking third when any normal jock, any good jock would have taken second, and then you would have got a horse in the Derby? I think Ethereal Road is a 100% pass in this race. I would not spend a penny on him running a week back. Like, no thank you. The horse I do like is In Due Time. I do. Like, he took second to Simplification. Like, Paco's going to go to the lead and push the pace. I really do think, I really do think that's the play. The only other one I can see is going to be another short price, and it's Tawny Port. I remember taking him a few weeks ago. But other than that, like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if if I like anyone. And that Tawny Port's coming off that Tapeta over at Turfway. I don't know. This is going to be tough.
I know. I'm completely with you on Ethereal Road because we've spoken about him a few times. We've previewed a couple of races. And I've always kind of tipped him up because I feel like there's a good horse there. But I guess now we kind of look at his grade 2s, grade 3s. That's probably about it. That's his level. Obviously, This is a grade 3, but the fact that he won the Bluegrass last weekend, I don't want any of it. If he would have bypassed the Bluegrass and come straight here, obviously he wouldn't have done it because the points aren't there.
Right.
But I would have been more inclined to take a chance in him then. And I mean, he didn't pick up any points anywhere last weekend, so he could. Hindsight, he could have done that. He could have just come straight here, went all out to get the win, get the 20 points, and you're in, aren't you? Then because he's one of the ones that need to win to get in. And I mean, just the fact that he ran last week is enough to put me off. Like 7 days, it doesn't matter how far you ran. Like he did line up last weekend. So it's immediately a red flag for me. Yeah, and to your point about 24, I just can't have it because he was on the synthetic last time. It just makes no sense. I think it's a really weird race. Like in due time, we'll probably go our favourite because he was second the Fountain of Youth. But I think all the kind of crap that went on that bend to get him into that position, he's not going to have it again. So it's kind of hard to judge how good he actually is. So I've landed on probably the most inconsistent horse in this field because I've really struggled with it, and that's Corma Midnight because his form figures are 6-1-7-1, so recent to least recent. But every time he has a bad one, he has a good one. So he was sixth in the Louisiana Derby where he just didn't get out. I mean, he might as well have stayed in the stall. That's how slow he was out of it. Yeah. But the race is already done. But he did beat Epicenter back at the beginning of the Lecomte, and he's got a speed figure 98 on that form. That is a ridiculous. That looks like a remarkable piece of form now.
Yeah.
But obviously, off the back of Louisiana Derby, he's going to go off at what 6-1 here.
Yeah.
I'll be taking my chance on him just on the hope that he can get back to that level.
Yeah, I don't blame you, right? Like you're looking for a price, you're looking for someone who's had a good speed figure. Like it's the right way to go. I just if you listen to one thing, don't bet the winners, just don't bet Ethereal Road. Just pass. Just pass on it. You'll be thanking us later. Like he's gonna be short. No, thank you.
It does hurt as well, because like I said, I do like Ethereal Road. I think he's a good horse, but it's just the fact that he ran 7 days ago.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So where you landed on there? You landed on in due time?
Yeah, I'm going to go in due time. Early speed, Paco is going to get him home, I think.
Yeah, I'll stick with Call Me Midnight and then hope that just that pattern of bad run, good run continues and we get a good one.
That's understandable.
So next up, we've got the race that's actually taking place tomorrow, which is the Maker's Mark Mile over at Keeneland again, a grade 1 over a mile. And this is a fun-looking race. I mean, I wrote a preview for this early in the week, and the horse that I said was an outsider is actually among the favourites. So it's made me completely kind of rejig my whole thinking here. I was interested to see where you land on this.
All right, so first of all, this is a phenomenal race. I am so excited to see this race. You know I love Smooth Like Straight. You know it. Toss him. Del Mar was very speed favoring that whole weekend at the Breeders' Cup, unless people were going like 22 and 44. But especially on the turf, you can hang around the lead, and he took second, and it looked great, right? Keeneland is a completely different monster. You get closers, and you get deep closers. The price that I like, the horse that I like, has already won a grade 1 at Keeneland in October. And that's In Love. I like the rail. I like Alex Achard aboard 10-1. He won 3 races in a row. He's won a grade 1 at Keeneland. So he didn't show up at the Breeders' Cup Mile. Well, he's a deep closer and he had nowhere to close into, right? That race was super soft. He was bumped early. He had a bit of a late gain, and he only finished 7th by 3 lengths. Like, it is what it is. I'm going for a price, but I love all these horses. Like half these horses, I'm just all like, yes, I love betting on them.
I think this is one of the things that I prefer about the turf because you see a lot of the horses come back season on season. So like it's like seeing an old friend again. You don't really have that kind of connection with the dirt horses because they're kind of gone after 1 year, aren't they, or 2 years tops?
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
But yeah, to your point about Smooth Like Straight, obviously he ran very well to finish second in the Breeders' Cup, but he finishes second so often. It's
Yeah.
just not even worth taking a chance. He was second in the City of Hope, second the Delmar Mile, second the Eddie Reed. I mean, I think we spoke about him before the Breeders' Cup saying, oh, he's probably going to benefit here because there isn't kind of like he is the American superstar here because none of the other ones went.
Yeah.
And obviously, he still got beat by the British one then with Space Boost and you for Godolphin. So I think I've run out of excuses for like Smooth Like Straight at this moment, but I would not be surprised to just see him bolt up. I wouldn't be surprised to see him win this at all.
I'd be really surprised if he won. I would. I like it's just a completely different turf course. Even the races that I've seen from Keeneland, you got a guy on the lead and he looks like he's home, and four horses pass him in the last 5 strides. It's really something.
But yeah, there's a few others ones. I also wrote it down in Love because I thought in Love does have a good chance because I just completely forgot about the Breeders' Cup because I just thought that wasn't for him. Count Again was the other one, which is a much bigger price than I thought it was going to be. He's won one grade one already this year, and he with the Frank E. Kilroe beating Space Traveller, and he won the Thunder Road as well on his first start this year. So you've already talked about a two-time graded winner this year. I mean, you just have to kind of forget about 2021. He didn't enjoy the best year at all, did he, last year? But
No.
I think he's definitely built like this year's already building to be better than that. But he is a big price here. But the one that I kind of liked and I thought he was going to be pretty big and isn't is Mason. I thought he was going to be like bigger than Count Again and Smooth Like Straight. So he's trained by Chad Brown, who won this last year. He only made his US debut. Well, he hasn't made his US debut. This is his US debut this weekend after impressing stakes races in Ireland last year. He was winning in stakes races of the caliber that like St. Mark's Basilica was in. So that's the company he was keeping. And he also finished 10th in a graded race, which St. Mark's Basilica finished third in. The only concern for me is this is his first start since August, where he was second in the Ruby Stakes over a mile. I put down and circled it saying best watched because it's too long of a layoff for me to kind of get involved in.
Here's why the odds make sense to the front side track announcer. Flavian Pratt is jumping off of Count Again, who you brought up, who won a grade 1 last out, and he's leaving for Mason. He's going to ride for Chad Brown and Mason. So they got to know something, right?
I would have thought so, yeah.
Yeah, Count Again, if there's one jockey in the world that you're like, oh man, I'm losing Flavian, you get Joel Rosario. That's like 1 and 1A right now. Like that's the best like jockey you can pick up if it's available. I'm gonna go on a limb here, and I'm gonna say like I like Count Again. I like Mason. I literally think I'm gonna trifecta and exacta box In Love, Mason, and Count Again, and I hope that the odds stay the same because, yeah, I'm passing on Smooth Like for sure.
Yeah, I like Mason to kind of drift a little bit because I am a bit concerned about the layoff.
Yeah,
because I think it's a really long time that, and obviously then you throw into that this is his first start in America, where it's completely different from Ireland for a load of different reasons. But I'd be tempted if it was around like 6, 7, 8 to 1 maybe. I'd be having a go, but at the price at the moment, I'd probably be sticking with Count Again.
well, and maybe it's an exotics play. You know what I mean? Maybe you put him on top of some stuff, and yeah, not bet him to win. So I'm with you, but I'm so excited for that race. So
yeah, it's a cracking race for sure.
Yeah.
So last race we're going to look at today then is the Jenny Wiley Stakes, which I think is a really, really good. It's a really fun race. This at Keeneland, it's a grade 1. for over 1 and 1/16 miles for the fillies and mares for age 4 and over. Chad Brown has a pretty special record in this. He's won 3 out of the 4, and he has 2 very, very good chances, I would suggest, in Shantizara and Regal Glory. Are you going to be sticking with one of the Brown 2 this weekend or going elsewhere?
You know me. You know I love Regal Glory, right? They're racing. I'm in. I think the only thing, like, the thing that always scares me, and it always happens toward the end of a card when I'm alive to a pick 3 and pick 4, is I'm really worried about, like, someone just jumping up and running the race of their life against me, right? But, like, how do you go against Regal Glory's form? It's hard to, right? First, second, first, right? Even Shantizara, like, how do you hate against Flavian and Chad? I'm always worried, and so I'm just going to call it out. They haven't had the best recent form. Scarabia, I always get late Peru'd. I don't know what it is, but it always happens to me, and I just, like, Jack Sisterson, late Peru, they've got decent turf speed. They went to the lead last time. I'm not saying, and I know I just said speed didn't hold up. I know I did. I know I said that. But watch, like, everyone falls asleep on the wheel, and they all think they're going to have that one big run, and it never comes. I'm going with Regal Glory, though, and it's hard for me to pass on this, but even at that short price, I think Jose Ortiz gets him home.
Yeah, I'm going to take one actually because I'm a really big fan of Shantizara. I really liked her for the Breeders' Cup filly and mare. Then obviously she was scratched, wasn't she? And that was a race that Regal Glory went on to win. She's a 3-time stakes winner, including, which I thought was the standout piece of form in this, the Group 1 QE2 Challenge Cup at Keeneland last year over 1 and 1/8. She's also, I think she's just very versatile. She's won over 1 and 3/8 as well. And obviously Brown has already won this with an Irish bred with sister Charlie in 2018. I just think Shantizara is going to have a pretty big year this year, and I think she's going to win a load of big races.
Yeah,
starting with this.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is, like, just the layoff in general for Shantizara, right? Like, hasn't raced since Keeneland last year in the fall meet. But I mean, absolutely dominated that field. Winning by 5 lengths on the turf is ridiculous. That's like, okay, you're a super horse, like, and in a grade 1, no less. I kind of do like. I mean, Regal Glory won on my birthday. I know it's stupid to look at, but it's one of those things where you're just all like, at least they've run this year. They've got a good workout coming in. Like, they've got a few good workouts. Like, I think, like, Jose and Chad get the second one home. I think Shantizara is right there, though. I'd just like to see one more race under her. But
yeah, I think when it comes to that, because I'm always a bit kind of iffy when it comes to kind of the length that they've been away. I always think the best kind of marker that I use is the market. So I think the market then suggests that Shantizara is more than ready for this kind of test.
yeah,
And it's the thing that puts me off about Regal Glory as well, because I was tossing between the two, because I think it's one of the two that are going to win it. The fact that Regal Glory hasn't won at Keeneland was a bit of a concern to me. She has finished twice, second twice, but she was 6th in that QE2 Challenge Cup. Obviously not the one that Shantizara won, the one before that I think it was. And I just couldn't get around that little kind of line.
yeah. No, I hear you. And it's really interesting. What I like about this horse is they're versatile. They've won on the lead. They've won coming from deep closing. They've come from stalking. Like, I feel like this horse just gets it done. And I'm just not sure, like, if Flavian is going to get that trip where he's just sitting off the early speed and just no one else is coming behind him. Like, I think Shantizara hits the front, and then I think there's a wave coming.
Yeah. No, to be fair, there was another one that I'd not noted down. It was Wiley. And to be fair, she's a lot shorter in the market than I thought she was going to be. But I thought she was a decent outside chance here. She was quite disappointing on her North American Derby, which when she was 4th in the EP Taylor. But she has kind of won some big races over a mile. She won the Dick Hearn Fillies at Haydock, and then she was 2nd in the Group 3 Atalanta at Sandown. And they're both very, very testing courses. She has won over this distance as well, albeit over on your weather at Wolverhampton. But I think she could be one to kind of keep an eye on moving forward this season.
Yeah, I agree with you. I listen. Am I happy for Umberto that he's got some nice turf rides this week? Yes. Has Umberto run really well lately on the turf? No. That was a 2020 thing. That was a 2021 thing. He's lost his magic. If he gets it back, though, he's got two great chances at some two big wins here with Smooth Like Straight and Wallyak, to your point. But I yeah, I'm a little concerned. The Woodbine form is fine, but like looking back, uh, like there was one special horse in that race. The horses that took second and third are no good. And so, but then again, I mean, uh, had a jockey I've never even heard of on him. So maybe that's also a blaming point.
Yeah, I think you might want to keep an eye on. He might win a big. She might win a big race rather. I've seen Navrato Lova's got the course and distance form here, but we've kind of just completely dismissed her straight away.
Completely outclassed. That's the only problem. Like, yeah, really nice horse, just like it just not gonna happen. The same, yeah, just not gonna happen.
No. So where you landed on that then? Regal Glory?
Regal Glory all day, every day.
And I'll be sticking with you, the Brown. I'll be sticking with Shantasara. So, Ace, your best bet for the weekend then? Where are you going?
In Love. I'm gonna go In Love 10-1 across the board. That's where I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to disagree with you. I feel like the best bet is probably in that race because the value's there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I would take another chance on Count again, I think.
Okay.
About 10-1, wasn't he? So that's a decent chance.
I'm with you. I like that we're both going for a price for once for our best bet.
We've got to be done. Anyway, that just about rounds us off for this week. Thank you very much for joining us. Ace, thank you very much for your time. Until next week, have a great weekend and see you next week.
Like and subscribe.